Good morning and welcome to the Native News Today. Jason Salzman along with Gerald Wofford. As always, we appreciate you joining us this morning on this last Saturday of October. We know you got a lot of choices out there as you're eating your Captain Crunch this Saturday morning, but we thank you for spending your time with us. And Jason, as always, we feel like we've got a good lineup for our watchers out there.
Yeah, we got a big time show today, Gerald. With the November 7th general election coming up, it's very important, this Native Vote United campaign that's been going on, and we talked about it on the show. Last week we had State Lieutenant Governor candidate Jerry Askins, and we've kind of had this political theme going on here for a few weeks now, but we've really knocked it up this week. We really bumped it up a notch, and we have both this current state treasurer of the state of Oklahoma, Scott Meacham, and his Republican counterpart, Republican candidate for state treasurer, Howard Barnett out of Tulsa, both on the Native News today, and we're going to be getting with them here in just a little bit. And the state treasurer's race is one that Native American people that want to have their voice heard in the state of Oklahoma have really been a part of throughout this whole process. I mean, it's one that's been talked about, it's one that's been focused on, and these two candidates have made strides and made really a great effort to reach Native American people. So we were real glad to be able to have them on the program today.
That's right. Election season is upon us, and the Native vote is strong out there. So we'll be visiting with those candidates here shortly. Also, too, we ventured over into Muskogee, Oklahoma at the historic Roxy Theater there. Now, the Five Tribes Museum, which of course is located there in Muskogee, annually honor a Native American playwright. And this year, they honored none other than Dr. Brett Jones. He's a East Central professor there, East Central University, wrote a play entitled War Paint, and they honored him at ceremony there.
Yeah, that might be a play that's got something to do with Native Americans. War Paint, I don't know.
Just kind of suggest that. Anyway, we'll show you the highlights of the ceremony and a little interview with Dr. Jones.
And certainly we like to highlight the Five Tribes Museum anytime we get a chance, because
great museum.
They've been gracious to us and they're gracious to everyone. Great job there.
So we'll show you those highlights here shortly. And as promised last week, we continue our quest for the perfect fry bread. We didn't have to venture too far, did we, Jason?
No, we were right here in Okmulgee for the Creek Nation Cultural Day festivities, and basically they bring a lot of kids in, or anybody of any age, come in, and there's exhibitions all over, basket making. They show them how they make lye soap or soft key or all kinds of traditional foods and things like that. And they also have exhibitions of stomp dance, so they have leaders out there, and they get stomp dances going, and a lot of those kids, they're wide-eyed out there. They've never seen that before, and like to take part in it when they let them come in and get in the circle too. So it's a pretty cool thing.
Always a good time. So, and Jason does find that fry bread here, and after much wisdom and leadership from the elders at the cultural ground. So we'll share that story with you here shortly.
Mado, elders, Mado.
Also, too, last Saturday in Tulsa, Oklahoma was the historic Council Oak ceremony. Now, this was the place where the Muskogee Creek tribe, when they first arrived in Indian Territory, established their area, their territory in northeastern Oklahoma. And a lot of people out there may not know, but Tulsa is actually from a Muskogee Creek word, Tulsi Town.
Mm-hmm.
That's how Tulsa was named.
Yeah, and it's you're not living on Tulsi Town, you're living on Tulsa Town now, but as Gerald just mentioned there, it used to be Tulsi Town, so it's a Creek word, and it's basically the birthplace of Tulsa, right there where that oak tree was planted and still stands to this day, so many years later.
That's right. That is what is so significant about this area that the Muskogee Creek tribe established as their living place here in Indian Territory. That tree is still up there, and it's right there on near downtown Tulsa. Annual ceremony that's held there every year. But we're going to speak with a gentleman, a speaker from New York Ceremonial Ground, Mr. Eunice Hill, who at one time back in 1973 was serving on was working there for the city of Tulsa, and actually helped preserve that tree. That tree could have very well been cut down, and he's going to talk about that story of what he did to help save that tree.
Much like the Muskogee Creek Nation.
That's right. So, hey, we're going to continue on here. Got a lot of good stories lined up, plus our tribal calendar, all the stuff happening out there in Indian country. So, thank you again for watching here. The Native News Today, we're going to roll on, take a quick break, and we'll be back with those stories. All right, last week in Tulsa was the annual Council Oak ceremony to honor the establishment of the Muskogee Creek Nation in Indian Territory.
Yeah, the start of the Muskogee Creek Nation there in Tulsa, and the start of Tulsa, really, and synonymous with one another in that tree. And to commemorate the event, they are selling these T-shirts and these hats, both $15 a piece. You can call 732-7642 for information on those. And you got a great story out there, didn't you?
That's right. Eunice Hill, Speaker of New Yawka Ceremonial Ground, shared a story when at one time he was working for the city of Tulsa and what he did to preserve the council oak tree near downtown Tulsa. We are here today at the historic council oak tree in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The council oak ceremony took place today, and I'm speaking with a gentleman who's had a very historical part in preserving this tree, which is right behind us, talking to none other than Mr. Eunice Hill, Speaker with New Yawka Ceremonial Ground. Mr. Hill, we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
You were sharing a story up here when you were addressing the audience about your part in preserving this tree when you had learned that city officials were perhaps considering cutting it down.
Yes, back in the 70s, we were working for Statewide Tree Service Company out of Okemos, Oklahoma, and then a contract to the public service here in Tulsa, and because we work all over this area. But at that time, they was clearing out this place here. They was going to build apartment houses, and we happened to be the crew that was called over here to take care of this cutting trees down and trimming. And so we got to this big tree here, that oak tree, and we asked the public service supervisors that we got to cut this down. They said, yeah, all the trees got to be cut down. And we knew a little history about this tree here. And we talked to each other because there's 5 of us, and all of us talking Creek, and George Maneg was the assistant chief in New Yawka Ground, and the mother was just the members, and I was a speaker, and we had 5 of us. I said, we talked about it. I said, maybe we better think about this. I said, we can't cut this tree down. And so we told that public service supervisor, I forgot what his name was. In a way, he was around, we called him up. I said, we told him that we can't touch this tree. I said, how come? I said, this tree is belongs to the Creek Nation. We know a little history about it, a meeting place. It didn't matter to him, I guess. I said, but it's got to be cut down. I said, well, we're not cutting it down. We're not touching it at all. So if you want us to fire us, the whole crew, we go ahead and leave. But I think at that time, I think he got a hold of Tulsa mayor. Mayor come around here and talked with him and told him the history and the story of the tree. So that's how we saved this tree. So if it wasn't for us, if somebody else, other crew come here, they would have had it cut down. It so happens that we were there and we were here. So we the ones kind of saved that tree for them. And then now, the history it's a history now. So I think about it one time, I said, we almost cut that tree down. And now they wouldn't have no tree here. But, you know, I heard him about McIntosh. Now, he might have done it, talked about it before us, but before us cutting it down, we saved it.
And now that today we have this ceremony where we honor and remember this council oak tree and what it means to the Muskogee Creek Nation, and you look at this here, how do you feel about that this tree is still preserved and what it means to the tribe?
I feel real happy with it because we didn't know that it's going to get that big, but, you know, later on, we got to have a meeting here. We got to start coming back here, start having celebration, and that's good. I really appreciate it. I really enjoyed it. You know, I always look forward to this meeting, this celebration, and I'm glad we saved this tree because just like I said, I didn't know the history of it before that about the tribe was here, but just a little bit about this oak tree, the meeting tree. That's what we knew about, and so right now, I really. I'm glad that we did save it, and I'm glad the Muskogee people sure they like it, and I'm always look forward to come here.
Mr. Eunice Hill, Speaker of New Yawka Ceremonial Ground. Now we ventured over into Muskogee, Oklahoma at the historic Roxy Theater. Every year, the Five Tribes Museum honor a Native American playwright, and this year they honored Dr. Brett Jones. He wrote a play entitled War Paint. Now, the name of the award is the Garrard Best Play, and that's presented every year to a Native American playwright. So Dr. Brett Jones received that honor this year, and we were there for the ceremonies, and this is what took place. We are here at the historic Roxy Theater in Muskogee, Oklahoma, to congratulate a Native American playwright this afternoon. And I'm going to give him a chance to just introduce himself right here. Mr. Brett Jones. Sir, we appreciate your time. Tell us the reason that we're here this afternoon.
Well, I wrote a play called War Paint, and I submitted it this summer for the contest, the Garrard Playwriting Contest, and was notified a few weeks ago that it was selected as the winner. And so we have this ceremony here in the afternoon, and they want a part of it read. And obviously not all of it since it's a full length, but selections from the piece to give the audience an idea of what the show's about.
Now, you received the award, and of course we say congratulations for that. Tell us about the play.
Well, it is inspired by a Native American theater class that I taught this past spring at East Central University. And I had some Native students in there that were very inspirational to me. And the one thing that kept coming up over and over again in our discussions in class was the concept of identity. And it was something that came out in the plays over and over again. And there were a couple that really intrigued me in the class because there were a lot of struggles that they were dealing with right then while the class was going on. And so it is about a girl, a college student at Bacone University in Muskogee, who is half Muskogee Creek, but has never been raised with any of the concept of what that means, any traditions, anything like that. And so she's been given an assignment by a professor to make a short film about who she is. And she's struggling with that because she doesn't know who she is. And so the play is about that arc of trying to define who and what she is.
Will we see this play performed anywhere?
Boy, I sure would like to. I sure would like to do it. Down where I am, I'm in the middle of Chickasaw country, and they have an arts and humanities department, and I'm friends with some of those folks. And I don't know, cross my fingers, we may try to work something out in the future. If nothing else, maybe try to get some of their actors and do a staged reading of the whole piece and invite the public and kind of do it that way.
Mention some of the duties that you do there at East Central.
Okay.
I know it was like native script writing and playwriting, some of the things you do.
I've teach a script writing class. I've taught this Native American theater class for the Native Studies program there, and I think they want me to do that again sometime in the future. We don't know when. But my primary duty is director of theater down there, and so I teach acting and directing, and I direct a couple of shows a year and teach theater history, and all things theater pretty much is what I do down there. So,
well, again, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right, we here at the Native News Today love to keep you in tune with all the things going on in Indian country. Make sure that if there's something going on out there, you can mark it in your calendar and get out there and make sure you get it. So we run the Native News Today weekly calendar every Saturday right here on the program. And this week's special treat, we're going to roll the calendar over some ceremonial stomp dance exhibitionists out at the Creek Cultural Day here this past week. So enjoy your Native News Today calendar. Make some reservations there, maybe make some stops on there, and we'll get right back with you after this break.
Here at the College of the Muskogee Nation, we pride ourselves on emphasizing Native culture, values, language, and self-determination while providing a positive learning environment for tribal and non-tribal students. We encourage our students to be lifelong learners and to strive for personal growth, professional advancement, and intellectual advancement. Muskogee Nation College. academic achievement, Native values.
You know, here at the Native News Today, we continue our quest for the perfect fry bread. And Jason here, who has been leading out in that quest, has practically turned into Indiana Jones, or we should say Indian Jones, because he continues looking for that treasure.
I'm the relic hunter. I'm out there looking for this treasure. And the thing about it is that we're building up to the World Fry Bread Cook-Off going on in November in Tulsa. Still on for business. So we're building up to that, and I can't wait for that. But in the meantime, why not look for some treasures out there anyway?
And Jace didn't have to venture too far this time. It was in our backyard. They had the Creek Cultural Day last week here in Okmulgee. And so here's that story about the quest for the perfect fry bread.
My quest for the perfect fry bread has led me here to the Creek Nation Cultural Day, to the wisdom of the elders, and even, just maybe even, to the wisdom of the youth. Hey, y'all like Cultural Day?
Huh? Yeah.
Y'all like Cultural Day?
Yeah.
Pretty cool?
Yeah.
At least get you out of school for a while, huh?
Yeah. Took us a while to get here though.
What's the best thing about it?
Food.
All right, we got an exclusive here. This is Jason Salzman at Creek Nation Cultural Day here on the grounds of the Creek Complex in Okmulgee, Oklahoma. Enjoying some great Creek culture out here today. We got arts and crafts. We got a traditional stomp dance exhibition going on in here for some of the kids around, and just sharing the Creek culture. And you can't really get into Creek culture without getting into the food. And specifically, one of the best parts of Creek food is going on right here. This is Jo Fixico, and she's hooking up some fry bread for us and getting the flour on there and everything. Joe, what do you think is probably the secret to making? We've been looking for the perfect fry bread for quite some time now. What's the secret to really making it good and making it the best that it can be?
I've already had some. When it's hot. I mean, I could eat that whole thing, but
Got to get the grease the right temperature, huh? Is the main thing, you know, you got to just TLC, right? Tender, loving, and care in every single piece. How long have you been doing this? How long have you been making fry bread? Is it something your mother taught you or passed down like that?
my mother taught me, and I tried to teach my kids. And
yeah, we
just learning.
got Leah right over here.
Really good.
Yeah, Gerald, right over here. We got some others going on here. Leah, looking at the fry bread here. Hey, let's see if we can get a shot of this. This is what we're looking at. Oh man, those are perfect almost. You don't really get much better than that. We got other things around too, so. All right, now to continue, let's just bring it right over here. Looking down on the fire here, and this is not a stove. This ain't no, burner. Got a real fire going on under this, so we're doing it the right way today. Got the medallions in there. Tell you what, Gerald, you throw some beans, meat, cheese, lettuce on that thing. Woo! There ain't a better meal on this earth. Leah, what do you like best about doing this kind of stuff? I mean, does it keep you in touch with, the traditional ways and everything like that, being a part of something, that's big?
Oh, yeah. I just like to see all the kids because, a lot of our culture is dying out.
Oh, yeah.
This just keeps us makes us want to bring it back.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm sure as long as you can remember, too, you've been around cooking and around your mom or your grandma and everything, cooking up stuff and everything like that. So, big part of the culture and a big part of staying together, and this is what it's really all about right here. If you go ahead and pan around, you look at all the people here, look at the things going on. We got several different things of food happening. We got some beans over here, got some softy getting cooked, and everybody's just having a great time here at the Creek Cultural Day. It's what it's all about, sharing the culture and everything, and making sure that we assimilate that into other people that don't know too much about it. And my quest here is complete. Even the elders wanted to make sure that I got the treasure. Sure do. All right. Put it away. November 7th is the general election in this state, and a lot of races are coming down to the wire here and getting very, very pressure-packed. And one is the state treasurer's race. Very important to people in this area, especially Native Americans. We got a chance to visit with the current treasurer, Scott Meacham, and his Republican opponent, Howard Barnett, out of Tulsa. All right, we're here at the Crown Plaza Hotel with State Treasurer Scott Meacham here, visiting with Native News Today. And first of all, Treasurer Meacham, just want to thank you for giving us this opportunity, giving us some of your time.
Well, I'm glad to do it.
Hot on the campaign trail here and hoping for another re-election. Treasurer, you have a very, very unique post with dealing with the state's Indian tribes and being the chief negotiator between basically, let's face it, two different nations. Well, not two different nations, but a nation. A sovereign entity and 39 sovereign entities.
Well, we like to call it government to government.
Exactly right, and that has to be a more unique than most state treasurers, I would think, would have the ability to do that. And how do you feel about that opportunity?
Well, I really enjoy it. It's very interesting. It's very rewarding, and it's very challenging. And the reason I do it is obviously it's the governor's function to be over compact negotiations, and I'm his Secretary of Finance and Revenue. And he asked me when I first came to work for him as a state finance director to do it, and then when I became state treasurer, he asked me to keep that role.
Specifically talking about negotiations and things like that, a lot of negotiations have been in the media here in the last few months, and things have been, said, and things are out there. But what I really believe is that we're dealing with a new thing here. The tribes are becoming more and more present in this state and more of a force. So obviously, anytime that things are new and different, it takes a little getting used to. Is that the way you see it also?
Yeah, I think it is true that the tribes are obviously growing and becoming more of an economic power in the state. But really, honestly, in the kind of behind the scenes in the negotiations and our relationships with the tribal leaders and their attorneys, those things go pretty well. What it ends up being usually is people that are really not in those rooms that kind of amp the rhetoric up, and but our relations and actually friendships with the tribal leaders are great, and they've always been great.
I'm a huge football fan, so I guess you could liken it to behind the locker room doors and then sports talk radio. It's everybody outside of the family there that gets the crazy stuff going on. But I know that you look forward to another the election coming up, and look forward to a chance to be the state's treasurer once again. Is this something that you see? And when I mean that, I mean tribal prosperity and state and government working together. Is that something you see that can be prosperous if you're in that state again?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think we all owe it to all of our citizens to work together, because there really is a symbiotic relationship. What is good for one is good for the other. And I have worked really hard to try to develop opportunities for the state and the tribes to work together. We just did the MG deal down in Ardmore, where the Chickasaw Nation came to the table with some land. I put together an incentive package for the state, and then the local government came together, and guess what? We got a huge internationally known manufacturer right here in Oklahoma. Well, we're working on a similar project right now with the Cherokee Nation. So I think there's a lot of those types of opportunities out there, and we just have to be willing to sit down and work on them together.
All right. Be looking forward to a lot of more prosperous things out of you, and good luck on the campaign trail, and I'm sure we'll be hearing about you in the coming months.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
All right, State Treasurer Scott Beecham. In your capacity as State Treasurer, philosophically, theoretically speaking, if you do win that office, what are some of the issues that you see need to be addressed? I mean, right now, I know you spoke about some of the challenges that will be and the debt that we've got here in the state of Oklahoma. But what are some of the things that you would need to address?
I think the treasurer is basically the chief elected fiscal officer of the state of Oklahoma. In addition to just managing the office well, which I think I have the qualifications to do, I think the treasurer needs to speak out on issues that affect the financial health of the state of Oklahoma. And the main one I talk about a lot on the campaign trails are state pension funds. They're over $10 billion, that's billion with a B, underfunded. And if we were a company, the federal government would have sued us long ago to clean this up. And any way you cut it, that's a $10 billion debt that we're leaving for our children and grandchildren to pay if we don't do something about it now. And no one's talking about it. Very few people even know about it. When I give speeches around the state and I mention the $10 billion number, jaws just drop. Our current treasurer claims that he's been trying to do something about it. Well, the key word there is trying. He hasn't done anything about it, and that's not what I'm going to do. I will get that problem solved and get us back on the road to solvency.
Less than 3 weeks away now, so we're at crunch time, really. And I know things are getting hectic, but you've been out in western Oklahoma, been all over the state. And I just have to ask you, you go out in western Oklahoma, and some of the tribes out there are doing a great job with commerce things, like things with economic interest, and putting out a lot of, and I'm not talking just about gaming, there's a lot of things going on out there too. Is that something that, as a treasurer, you'll be able to say, hey, things in Oklahoma, could, if we work together the right way, they could, kind of turn the corner. And I mean, we're seeing success now, but don't you think that can continue with the partnership continuing like that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that's really, we've been missing a bet in Oklahoma, because the tribes have access to some federal money, for example, that the state doesn't, and it's often very comparable money, whether it's in healthcare or area or economic development, that if we really work together, we probably could get 1 and 1 equals 3. Now, again, I'm not going to pander. The treasurer's not in charge of economic development, but I think that economic development has to be sort of part of every elected official's portfolio. And I've got a lot of experience there and would love to work with the tribes or anyone else to try and get more jobs, more money, more wealth into Oklahoma.
We talk about the partnership, but at the end of the day, what's good for the tribes is good for the state, and what's good for the state is good for the tribes, because we're Indians, but we are Oklahomans too, Oklahoma citizens, and just a partnership that should be able to work. And I know that you'll pay special attention to that. And November 7th, we wish you the best of luck, and hopefully you can pull it out and bring the treasurer's race here to Tulsa.
I appreciate that very much, and just remember to vote. The key thing is to get out to vote.
All right. Howard Barnett, if you want a full-time treasurer, this must be the guy.
All right. Again, we thank you for joining us this morning on the Native News Today. Hey, keep bringing in those good stories. We know you got a lot of things to share out there. And Jason, how do they contact us?
Well, they can get a hold of us by phone at 918-732-7637, or they can send us a fax if they want to do that, 918-758-0824, or they can reach us by email. Mine is jsalzman@muskogeanation-nsn.gov, gwofford@muskogeanation-nsn.gov. Some people call him the king of rock and roll, but I don't know.
Hey, as always, thank you for joining us. For our producers, Josh Lane, Jason Salzman, Gerald Walford, and the rest of the stellar crew here in the Creek Nation Communications Department. We thank you for joining us this morning. In the meantime, take care. God bless. We'll see you soon.